Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, I've been tied up this morning with a client. We're preparing a brief that we have to submit, so that's why I'm getting out a little later. So it's a little warmer, but it's reasonable, so it's okay. I guess you've heard the recent reports that basically the Delta variant of the virus is a lot more pernicious than everybody expected, and that we have to be pretty concerned. A World Health Organization expert said that the world needs a reality check. That is, as to the danger of this variant. And one of the things that's feeding it is the slow vaccinations in some places. And that's where we're seeing the increased infections, and that's where we're going to see deaths. We already see some. And if we don't correct this, we risk it transmuting into other variants. We are well aware of, say, the Texans who came up to protest about the voting situation in Texas. And they arrived here, and I think we're up to 5 now, all of whom had been double vaxxed, have shown that they have the COVID inside of them. So we are seeing that at the very least you can be a asymptomatic carrier, but one of them is showing illness as well. And the suggestion has been, before we were dealing with the Delta variant, that if you did get sick, it wouldn't be as severe. And apparently we're going to be testing that. That is to say, we're going to have examples of that. And there are going to be places in the country that are going to be besieged. And, assume it's relevant or not, but the Dow was down 900 this morning as a result of this Delta variant. And moments ago when I checked, it was at 850. So this is having a real effect. There are those who say it's time that we started mandating vaccinations, because it's becoming a security issue for all of us. And anybody who has any immunosuppression problems may find that the vaccinations they have are not the protection that they need, are not as effective. And I know this because we have a concern about this in our own family with Holly. So we've been very careful. We try to avoid things, we wear masks, we're double vaxxed and all of that. And I recommend that to anybody else, whether or not you have these comorbidities or conditions. So that's one thing. The other thing that strikes me is we have had a sentence today among the rioters who participated in the insurrection on the Hill. And his name is Paul Hodgkin. And he's 38 years old, and you may have seen him in the Capitol and the Senate chambers waving a red and white flag for Trump, protesting the election, the nomination, the endorsement that was going to happen that day in the Senate and the House, designating him as the president, a pro forma exercise conducted by the vice president in line with the House and the Senate. And there were several traitors in the House and the Senate who supported this baseless, illegal, unconstitutional attack on the pro forma process that made Biden our president. Well, he was sentenced today, and the prosecutors said they wanted 18 months, and that the range under the sentencing guidelines was 15 to 21. And they could have asked for more because of the terrorist aspects of the offense, but they did not. And the judge in the end went below the guidelines and gave him 8 months. His language was great, but his sentence was weak. And we have to send a signal to the other 400 or more who are awaiting sentencing that this is something more serious. And 8 months would be serious to anybody, but under these circumstances, attacking the government at the root, going inside the building, doing the things they did, people dying, the threats to kidnap the vice president and to to hang the vice president and to kidnap the Speaker of the House. It's just intolerable. And people have to pay for that. And they have to know there is a reckoning. And that is one of our big failures, to prove that our law means something by having the reckoning that corresponds to the offense. And lastly, we have this very interesting congressional challenge. That is, what are we going to do about the infrastructure? And it looks like the Democrats are upping the ante. They are proposing a bill of $3.5 trillion, which is greater than the $2.2 trillion that Biden originally proposed, as well as the second bill, which is $1.2 trillion, and that's the one in cooperation with the Republicans. I hear that neither bill is written. That's discouraging. And there is a question where the funding is going to come. Now, there isn't any doubt in my mind that if the Democrats can hold together with the vice president, they can determine the funding and have it related to the taxes of the wealthiest above the $400,000 income a year. The Republicans, however, when it comes to funding their $1.2 trillion deal with Biden and the Democrats, that's more problematic because they've wanted to get the funds for that out of the gas and diesel fuel taxes. And that's a regressive approach, and that would leave their constituents, that is the Wall Street and wealthy types, free of contributing to the problem. And lastly, and I don't know what the answer is to this, but I'm concerned about it. At the end of this month, despite the fears we have about the virus coming back in the ways we described at the outset, they're going to be evicting people. So it's not clear if they're going to continue the moratorium any further. But nothing has happened yet, and the word was at the end of the July, evictions are okay. So those are kind of the things that are on my mind today, and gives us some food for thought and a reminder that we got to be careful ourselves about this virus because it ain't gone away yet. And as the WHO expert said, the world needs a reality check. So nice talking to you today. Be well. Oh, I may have trouble talking to you tomorrow because I'm supposed to have dental surgery. That's when they numb you, punch you for a long time, it wears off, and you're very sore. So we'll see how that goes. If I can talk, you know me, I'll be talking. All the best. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.